Hello everyone, it's Angel, and I'm glad to be back, coming forward and trying to just share my time with everyone. Like I always say, I know that life is a lot of stuff. You know, there's a lot of things going on in people's lives these days, and I get it, you know, and I'm one of those people. And in reality, like, the mission and the goal is to never stop, right? No matter what you're doing in life, never stop. And what I mean by that is that, like, I will never stop bringing forth a message, right? And if anybody who has been following the videos, like, I get my topics from conversations that I have with people, from the works that I'm doing with people, from the posts that I see on Facebook and all other social medias that I belong to. There are certain questions that people put out. There are certain things that people are doing, and they have questions about that. There are certain things that go on in life, right, on a daily basis. And I try to help by putting in my own experience and talking about things that I know about and try to figure it all out together, right? So with that being said, like, this is really one of those forums where we talk about certain things, right? You know, I want to talk about a spiritual journey. And when you are making some changes in your world and your life just seems in a place where you feel like it's time for you to start tending to your spirit, and you meet a person and you like the way that they're living, you like the way that they're doing what it is for their spirit, and you get involved with that person and they become your spiritual advisor, or they become your mentor, or someone that you follow, right? You have to understand that it's like going to school. It really is. You can't learn about the next parts of your course to complete what it is that you're going to school for if you don't take things chapter by chapter, right? I'm not going to learn how to be able to play notes on the clarinet if I don't know how to put the bell together, if I don't know how to even put the instrument together, how to hold it right, how to place the reed on the back of the mouthpiece, you know, how to identify what keys, my finger placements. I'm not going to be able to put together a whole piece if I don't know the components of what that instrument has, right? And when it's time for you to take certain tests, right, you won't be able to pass those tests if the assignments that are given to you are not completed, right? I'm a firm believer, and I tell everybody that I work with, like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? And that means that, listen, life on life terms really is just life on life terms. Every day we wake up and we go through our course of our day, and whatever happens in our life is what it is, right? It is what it is, right? You have to always remember that we do have choices. And that's the biggest thing about everything that we do here. We choose the direction. We choose the way we move, say, walk, talk. We determine how our character is. We determine how our behaviors are. We choose. And when you're on a spiritual journey, there are some choices that you're going to have to make that you've never made before, because you wasn't in this process, right? So you didn't have to make these choices and changes and decisions. And sometimes when you're doing something new, remember that there's always something new that has to be done. If I'm like, go back to school, if I'm in a course, most of that knowledge that I'm getting in that course is new. It's new information because I'm learning something new. So I'm doing something new because I'm learning something new so I could be something new. And that's the whole thing about a spiritual journey. The whole goal and purpose is to be something new, right? And I just want to say this because, this is really important. If you're working with a person that you trust, that you care about, that you know that they care about you enough to take a part of to be a part of your life, to take some time out of their day, to be a part of your life, to help you grow in your spiritual journey, right? Then come on, man. Be a part of the currency. Because we're talking about our life. We're talking about growing in a spiritual way. Look around. Anybody that talks to me, look around. Everything out here is getting thick. It's thick out here. Turn on your television. Look around in the world. Things are changing at a very rapid pace. And a lot of this stuff that's going on is affecting people's spirits. But I'm not even going to blame the current situation. Like, for a while, people have been in places where spirits have been broken. Right? So if you're choosing to be with someone, like, follow what it is that they tell you to do. Because you know what I've learned, right, is that I sit in a class with a teacher, a professor, to learn what it is that they got to offer, because I want that. I want that. When I started my spiritual process, I was in a turmoil. I'm talking about me. Like, I was searching. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, what's the best religion? What's the best faith? What's the best practice for me? You know what I'm saying? What is it? And I tried a lot, right? Until I got to a place where I felt it was comfortable for me. And that's very important. You have to do that for you. Like, you don't want to be somewhere wasting your time and wasting other people's time, right? And I get it. And I talk to everybody. People know me. I talk to a lot of people about a lot of things. And I'm a person that'll tell you, like, there's no judgment around here. But there's just certain things that you got to do when you're doing a spiritual journey. And that means that you got to cut certain things out. And in order for you to do that, that means that you have to make changes and choices, right? You're going to wonder why sometimes, if you're on a spiritual journey and you're doing certain things that you used to do before you decided to do a spiritual journey, that those things are not comfortable for you anymore. And the reason why you wonder why is because when you're changing, when you're metamorphosizing, right? You can't stay in the same skin for too long. If you're shedding, then why would you want to walk around in a size 9 where you're supposed to be a size 10? It's going to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you, when people come up to me and they're like, Angel, I want to be more spiritual. I'll be like, strap in. Because this is going to be the journey of your lifetime. It really is. It really is. It's a journey. And sometimes being spiritual is very uncomfortable. Because when you're walking a certain way for so many years of your life, and then you start to awaken, and you start to see things for what they really are, one of the things that you do get to see that is such a blessing is yourself. And sometimes when we look at ourselves in a deep, what's going on with this traffic and people getting into accidents and stuff like that, it's horrible. You know, looking at ourselves sometimes it's not always comfortable. I'm not gonna say it's not, because when you're doing something that has to do with internal work, yeah, it's going to be a little bit painful. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be challenging. You know, it might be a little bit difficult, right? But it's doable. It is doable. And make sure you grab someone who is patient, kind, and understanding when you're doing this work, because that's important. But I want to get back to this place, man. Like, when you're working with someone that you trust and you believe in the spiritual process, like, put down your shields. If you connected with this person, put down your shields. The first thing of you being in a place where somebody could know, that advisor knows that you're ready to work, is when you start letting go of certain things that are hindering you up into the air. If you got trust issues, now that you have somebody that's willing to help you, utilize that time to work through them trust issues, right? Nobody is 100, but you got to start somewhere, right? Because prior to you meeting the person that's helping you out, they were not the people who did things to you, bro. They weren't. If you're not good at communication, take this opportunity to practice, to learn how to communicate more. Say that. I'm not the best at communicating, you know, and let it out in the universe. And these are the reasons why, you know, because I get it. You know what? I'm not good at communicating with people on a phone or dialoguing because my time management is bad. But when it comes down to saving my life, I got people that I talk to and they stop and they talk to me because we invest that time. And if it's communicating because you're afraid to talk to people because people are going to hurt you, I know, I get it, man. But you know what? You got to try somewhere because you're defeating the purpose. You're defeating the purpose. Spiritual journey and spiritual work itself, right? Like, if your godparents or your spiritual advisor, whoever's helping you out, man, they tell you, hey, listen, do this candle work or do these prayers or whatever it is they tell you to do, so that way you can do it to get to a place so that way it can be beneficial for yourself. Don't detour and use those things for something else, right? Because at the moment, I'm gonna tell you something, and I want people to listen to this real clear. When you're on a spiritual journey, that's you time. And when you're doing you time, I'm gonna tell you something. You just may not have time for a relationship. If you're not in a relationship while you're doing some spiritual work and you're on a journey, stay single. How else are you going to be able to be a good person to someone else if you don't first work on yourself? Because then when you get into these relationships, right, and you're not working on yourself, and then you get into a relationship with somebody else, and either you're toxic or you're venomous, or maybe they are, and y'all get to a place where, you know what, it's not good. And now you got to stop the shadow work or whatever it is that you're doing on yourself, that spiritual journey, you got to stop. Because now you got to clean up a mess. And you know what? Like I said, there's no judgment. But you know what? Why veer off of a place that's going to bring you to a better place where now you can handle a relationship? And I get it. You know what? We people. We like to be touched. We like to be around other people. We like to be in relationships. But if you're not ready, you're not ready. If you don't have all the tools to be in a relationship, then you know what? Yeah, maybe you can get them along the way. But you know what? There are times where, you know what? I have found to be with people working in this process, and I don't step in nobody's way. You want to do what you want to do? I'm going to be here when you get back. Hopefully, you know what? When you get back, it's not too much work that we got to do. It's not that damaging. But I'd rather us go forward and do the work that's necessary instead of cleaning up a mess that was unnecessary. You know, we grown people. You know, and there should be no reason why we veering off when you come into a person, listen, and I know we make mistakes. Sometimes, you know what? Things get the best of us. We get weak, we get in the moment. I know all of that. But it's about choices. Because I believe that there's just a window period. And I always, anybody who talks to me, they always hear me say this. There's a window period. There's a moment of clarity that allows you to think over the process. And then there's also the fuck it's. And when you get into the fuck it's, then you know what? Everything else don't matter. But you got to weigh and balance. At the end of the day, it's about making good, sound choices. Is this going to be beneficial to what I'm doing? Yes, I know I just want just one more of this, you know what I'm saying? Or I just want to be with this just one person. You know, I don't want to, listen, everything falls in line. You can't get sick and tired of seeing people in relationships being happy if you're so caught up in doing the work that's necessary on yourself because you're busy doing something. You won't even see that. You won't even see that. Because you know what? Behind closed doors, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what people are going through. Right? Sometimes there's people that come out into the world and they'll tell you that everything is fine. And deep down inside it's not. And you always want to, and then you know what, you see this all the time and you're like, damn, I want to be like such and such. But if you really got to know who such and such is and what they was really going through, then you know what, the grass is really not greener on the other side sometimes. Listen, be patient. Things will get there when they get there. You can't be mad at somebody if you in a relationship with them and you found out, because I like this, you found out they was cheating on you, right? And I use the quotations because you know what? I know I've been in some relationships and I knew every time I was being cheated on. And the moments that I decided to stay anyway, that was on me, okay? So when it got to a head and then we started addressing that situation and arguing and carrying on in that situation, I'm like, yeah, but you cheated on me. Listen, I'm mad that I got cheated on. I'm mad that I got violated on. I'm mad that things didn't happen the way that it happened in my world, in my mind. But if it doesn't work the way you see it and the way you want to get out and do something else, go get or go do something else that's going to make it work for you. Stop staying in places where you don't belong. Get out of those places. Get away from there. If it ain't working for you, get up. And you know what? If there's an issue that's attached to it, get up and leave. And then you know what? Work that out while you're going in the process. You can't blame a person for stealing out of your wallet or your bank account when you gave them a pin or you moved them in and you knew they was a thief. That's on you. You can't put a thief around money and expect them to be an angel. You can't be mad at a guy if y'all was together and you know what? He got you pregnant and now he don't want to be with you anymore because at the end of the day, he don't want to be with you no more. Okay, so now you stuck with a baby. But you know what? The reality is you didn't get pregnant by yourself. Stop torturing that man because already he just showed you if he's pregnant, if you're pregnant and it's his kid and he say he don't want to be with you. Okay, so he don't want to be with you. And maybe, you know what? You wanted to be with this person. Bite the bullet. Bite the bullet and go through the pain right now of whatever just happened. And you know what? Do the work that's necessary. What part did you play in that? There's always signs and signals, that window period. Don't get with somebody and you know that there were signs of abuse in a relationship. And then you get sick and tired and then you wind up in jail for killing this person, right? Because all the years you accepted that. Like one hit, that's it. purpose of being with someone who's going to take you to a spiritual evolution and a journey is so that way they can help you vibrate higher. You can't think about initiating into anything. You can't think about doing any of those things if you don't do the work that's necessary on yourself, because all that's going to happen is that you're going to come into a place that has so much vibrational, good, positive energy, and you're going to take yourself with you. So if you are alcoholic, and I've seen this on videos before, and you're not addressing that alcoholic behavior, why would you want to practice spiritual journey and process and never fulfill or achieve the whole fulfillment of everything you could have gained instead of getting some of it? Like, don't waste the time of anybody who's going to help you out. Don't waste your time. If you're not ready, you're not ready, right? And be honest about it. Be honest about it. To thy own self, be true, man. Step back and tell a person, hey, I'm not ready for this because right now there's too much going on. And I know that we trying to work, and I know you're trying to help me out, but you know what? I'm just getting caught up in this and this, and I don't know how to, because, you know, it is not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair when somebody invests their time in you. It's not fair when they really care about you and they pulling more punches than you are. It's not fair. It's not fair to the process. It's not fair to yourself. For you to allow yourself to continue going into the negative zone, right? When you got ample amount of help around you. If somebody says, hey, I'm going to step in and I'm going to help you, and you still a little wild, okay, in the beginning, the process is always wild because you're coming from the wilderness into the safety, right? We understand that. And then, you know, it might still be a little bit wild even after that, because there's still a little bit of attitudes and behaviors. But if you work on them, it gets better every time. You know, you shouldn't have to be talking about the same things over and over again. You know what? If the girl you with is giving you heartache and grief, step away from that. Because I'm telling you, you can do that yourself. I'm the only one that can damage myself because I know the whole story. I'm the only one who could gossip with myself real good, because you know why? I know the whole entire story. And I did all of that before I got to a place where I was good. I did all of that. Self-sabotage. I'm a master at that. But what I wasn't a master at was self-healing, self-perseverance, self-love. Anything that had to do with self, with the positive, I didn't master that. And when I got a taste of what was on the other side of the coin, I didn't want no more negative parts of my life. You got to be in a place in your life today where you really get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Get to a place, man, where you know what? If you are with this guy and he ain't doing nothing but just giving you grief and heartache, let him go. Let him go, because you can't save the world. Sometimes, if you're trying to save yourself, you can't save yourself and somebody else at the same time. Get help for yourself. And if you're in a relationship with somebody and y'all both hurting, y'all both get help for yourself individually. Because that's the only way you're going to be able to help yourselves together. I'm talking passionately about these things because you know why? I get involved sometimes in relationships with people. And I really get excited, like super excited to help out. And I want to be in a place where I see fruits bearing. It's pointless to take a seed and put it in the dirt and plant it and let it go from a seedling to a sprout, to a sprout, to a plant, to a plant, to a tree that has fruit that you can't even eat, that you can't even utilize. Why bear off toxic, sick, unuseful fruit in your life? Don't waste your time planting things that are not going to help you. Mi gente, people, ashe. Every day and erase to your blessings. Grand risings to you all. I love you all. Please do better. Live better.